The so-called curriculum for excellence is at the heart of Scottish education, and it's founded around creating 4 capacities in young people, making them into successful learners, confident individuals, responsible citizens, and effective contributors. Let's see how Education Secretary John Swinney got on with rattling off that list in the Scottish Parliament.
What for me is the central element of Curriculum for Excellence, which is about the achievement of the 4 capacities of becoming responsible citizens, effective contributors, successful individuals and confident individuals.
So we can remember them. Okay, you know, in the heat of the moment everyone can slip up like that, but it so happened to miss out the only word that had anything remotely to do with academic learning. So if we look at those objectives of the Curriculum for Excellence, a quarter of it is about producing confident people. Okay, that's a bad aim. You don't make people confident by saying, we're going to make you confident. That's on the curriculum. You become confident as a byproduct of other activities. You get good at things. You do things through your personal interactions. But a quarter of the curriculum? No. A quarter of the curriculum is about producing responsible citizens. What's that mean? Pay your taxes? Be faithful to your family? No, that's just as a license for indoctrination. A quarter of the curriculum, effective contributors. What does that mean? Again, just leaves the door wide open for indoctrination. And a quarter of the curriculum is about learning something. And that's the bit John Swinney forgot about.
The Curriculum for Excellence is designed to fulfil a range of needs for young people, about equipping young people with the fundamental skills in literacy, numeracy and health and well-being.
Okay, so the core skills: literacy, sounds good. Numeracy, fair enough. Health and well-being, a third of the core skills are health and well-being. Okay, having a few lessons about being healthy, keeping yourself in good shape. Okay, fair enough. But well-being, that's the sort of therapeutic navel-gazing, how you're feeling today. Let's write a bit more about our feelings. And also involves with undermining the family. Who are the people who can help you and support you? There's mum, there's named person, etc., etc. So that's what comes under sort of well-being. Because some other broad descriptions of the Curriculum for Excellence from the government's materials. Right, the section up to age 15 is called a broad general education. And it's summarised like this. This includes well-planned experiences and outcomes across all the curriculum areas from early years through to S3. This includes understanding the world, Scotland's place in it, and the environment, referred to as learning for sustainability. I mean, for a start, that doesn't really make sense. But again, Scotland's place in the world, understanding the world, learning for sustainability, that sounds like as wide open for a political message? I think it certainly is. So you can see already the Curriculum for Excellence is fundamentally flawed. Academic learning, in fact any sort of learning, is squeezed to the side by all sorts of spurious and questionable activities.
It's designed to be flexible and can be tailored to the needs of every single young person, no matter their background, their interest, their confidence or their skill set. And it supports and promotes the highest standards of academic attainment and achievement. Now, some of the issues that Liz Smith has raised today about inserting a greater degree of prescription into the curriculum would obviously challenge some of those points that I've raised there. So there is a debate to be had as to where Parliament wishes to be on this question, because Parliament really in an overwhelming way supported the principles that I've just outlined there of Curriculum for Excellence.
Now, this talk of flexibility, what's this all about? Before the Curriculum for Excellence, pupils sat standard grade exams, which is the equivalent of like GCSE, and that would be at age 16, and after then you'd go on to do higher or advanced higher or go to college or whatever. Whereas the Curriculum for Excellence took away that simple structure and replaced it with something much more fluid, shall we say. Now pupils have national 4 assessments at age 15, and these are assessed by teachers, and you can just keep taking them until you pass them, wide open to cheating and corruption. You can only pass or fail them, there are no other grades, and the purpose of them is to close the poverty-related attainment gap. Because if you come up with an assessment that everyone passes and everyone gets the same grade, you've closed the poverty-related attainment gap, haven't you? Then after them, when you go into the last 3 years of sort of high school, there's then a choice. You can do national 5s, which are the equivalent of the old standard grade, and you can do higher, advanced higher, But you can do them in all sorts of mixtures, all sorts of orders. It's very flexible. It's very individualized. Now that sounds great for the pupils, or is it? Because it's an administrative nightmare for the schools. And the only way they can deliver it often is through multi-level teaching. So you'll have the class, the physics class, and there'll be 5 people in it who are doing Nat 5, and there'll be 5 people in it who are doing higher, and the poor old teacher's got to teach 2 courses at once. And the idea is this is giving the pupils what they want. But it's not. It's a teacher's nightmare, and the quality of teaching inevitably deteriorates. I mean, why was this system introduced? To be honest, I think a big part of it was that wanting to be different from the rest of the UK for the sake of it.
In a world where future careers would depend upon flexibility, adaptability and the ability to problem solve, the Curriculum for Excellence was intended to develop the skills of individual pupils. In this, it represented a shift away from traditional Scottish education, where the focus was more on knowledge than skills. It was no longer so important for young people to know things, but more important for them to be able to work things out. And that was a laudable objective.
No, it wasn't. We often hear this: the jobs of the future don't exist yet, so we can't prepare for them by learning anything in terms of traditional academic education. We can't take on any knowledge that's going to be useful, so we just need to teach some sort of vague transferable skills that will prepare them to adapt for the future. It's nonsense. Okay, just think about a new job that didn't exist, a few decades ago. Let's say designing and programming mobile phones. Who are the people who adapted and did that? Were they people who'd been educated in transferable soft skills? No. There are people who'd been educated in maths, physics and engineering. Okay, let's speculate. Let's think about a job in the future. Flying car technician. Okay, that job might exist in the future. How can we prepare people for it? Well, you prepare them in the same way you prepare someone to be a car mechanic now, and that will probably be the best preparation for them being a flying car technician in the future. How about another job now that didn't exist a few decades ago? Say a social media officer for a big company. Okay, what will prepare you for that? Well, your English needs to be good, maybe a bit of artistic ability, ICT, obviously, information communications technology, maybe a bit of psychology. In other words, studying existing academic disciplines is the appropriate preparation for jobs that don't exist yet. If you think about other subjects like history, are they really saying we don't need to know the story of our nation and the forces that have shaped the world because future jobs won't need it? I mean, we also need the pupils need to learn to work things out for themselves, to problem solve. But that's what many traditional academic subjects are all about. They include a huge amount of thinking skills already. Look at maths, for example. Look at English. I mean, a part of English is learning how to develop arguments, etc. So I think it's an error, this idea that you need these sort of special transferable thinking skills from outside the academic curriculum to prepare you for the jobs of tomorrow. It's just not true.
But there is increasing concern that the shift from knowledge to skills has gone too far, and it has left too many pupils without a basic grounding in the knowledge they will need for their future lives and careers.
That's correct. In Scottish education, you often hear things like this. Education is not about filling up empty vessels. That's what's called the banking philosophy of education. The idea that you deposit knowledge in children. And this was criticised by a Marxist called Paul Frere in a very popular book. The idea is that children are oppressed by teachers who think they know more than their pupils, whereas education should really be a journey of discovery together. I think it's many, many decades since that message has had any relevance at all in education in Britain. But at the moment, education in Scotland in particular is very out of balance, but it's out of balance the other way. To give an illustration, if you look at, say, studying history, instead of learning what happened, the emphasis has moved more to learning how to analyse documents. That sort of thing. It's got to be a skill rather than the knowledge. I mean, when one of my sons was at school, he did a big project on the Second World War, and they looked at accounts written by evacuated children, and they interpreted them and said, how would it feel? Then they wrote a little story about themselves as an evacuee. He made a model of a Spitfire, which I would imagine would be bringing like craft skills into it as well. So he did all these activities, practiced all these skills. At the end of it, he said to me, "Who won?" And I had to explain to him which side won the Second World War. Okay, what you won't hear so much in Scottish education is education isn't just about making good citizens and learning transferable skills. There's some stuff that's really important and you need to know it. Okay, Murdo Fraser's heading in that direction there in the Parliament. That's great. But in a school, you're probably not really going to be on the ladder of promotion if you go around saying things like that.
Let me just address one final point that Liz Smith raised with me, which is about this balance between knowledge and skills within the curriculum. I think we're all agree. I can't imagine there's a single person in this Parliament that doesn't believe education needs to be founded by the acquisition of knowledge and the acquisition of skills. I completely accept that position. My view is that that balance is correct within Curriculum for Excellence, although I am always open to debate about that question.
This distinction between skills and knowledge is not always helpful, it's not always clear. Think about maths, for example. There are some facts you need to know in maths. Then there are some techniques that you hopefully understand. Then you have to remember them, and then you have to use them. So I suppose using them as a skill. Problem solving in maths, is that a skill? I suppose you could say it is. In English, you need to be able to spell. So that's knowledge. Grammar, is that knowledge or is that a skill? Writing with correct grammar, is that a skill? Creative writing, public speaking, I would guess you'd say that's a skill. But in those subjects, you can't do creative writing or solve maths problems without the relevant knowledge as well. But in the Curriculum for Excellence, the lean is all towards skills. I'm going to make another video on this. It's absolutely ridiculous, some of the things. In fact, some of them are actually quite amusing. That they try and present everything as a skill and they leave out knowledge almost completely. So watch the next video and see. I mean, here's just an example of it. The Curriculum for Excellence is written in this sort of stilted, so-called learner-centered language. So it's all about I. So it's as though the pupil or the 3-year-old in nursery or whoever is saying what they can do as a result of being taught. So here's one from history, upper secondary school history. I have developed a sense of my heritage and identity as British, European or global citizen and can present arguments about the importance of respecting the heritage and identity of others. Right, what knowledge content is there in that? Zero. Imagine if you're a teacher and they said, right, you need to have a lesson to do that. Now you might be thinking, maybe there's another section of the Curriculum for Excellence that actually tells you what to teach. There's mountains of guidance relating to it. But if you look at the actual curriculum, it's all things like that. It's all skills and it's virtually no knowledge. So the Curriculum for Excellence reflects an extreme, unbalanced, hyper-progressive philosophy of education that denigrates knowledge acquisition as part of some sort of elitist plot to oppress the masses as something. There are many, many grave problems with Scottish education, and on almost all of them, the Conservatives are silent. They don't seem to understand it at all. But on this issue, let's give them some credit where it's due. They're sort of on the right lines, but it's too little, too late, because the Conservative Party in Scotland has supported the Curriculum for Excellence all through its inception and through the years, and they're now calling for a review of it. But that's not right. What they should be calling for is for it to be scrapped. Thanks for watching.